What's up, world, and welcome back to another episode of Mix in Chat, hosted by Cha Cha,
What's poppin'?
D-Lo,
Yo, what's up?
Javi, what's going on, and my boy Omega Green.
Yo, what up?
Y'all ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
Let's get into it. All right. Y'all know how we do this. Omega, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. After the past few weeks, things were pretty rough. Family got sick, started out being like strep and whatnot, and then it turned into like flu, and it went around the household. So
you were out for a minute.
It was pretty crazy.
Omega been out.
Yeah.
We're glad you're back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
I know the audience missed you.
America, he's looking good, America. He's looking good.
That I am.
He's
We was
looking-
worried about him, though.
He ain't lost no weight or nothing. Hercules.
We was worried about you, though. We was worried.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, man. Welcome back.
Thank you, man. I
For
appreciate
sure.
that.
All right. Well, Cha-Cha, how you feeling? Hey.
Enough said.
Apparently.
Facts.
Enough said.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Say no more. D-Lo, how you feeling?
It's been an okay week, so not bad at all. Just been doing work, trying to get everything done. I got some hours cut, but it's all right.
Come on,
Just gotta
hours.
make it up. So
I know that's right. You still doing the DoorDash?
No, I'm still doing Amazon Flex, which has changed a lot, but there has been some things with DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Ooh.
Apparently, Uber Eats is suing DoorDash
For what?
because they said that that the restaurants who are signed with them and they try to go to DoorDash, or that they go through DoorDash to get their food delivered. They try to go with Uber Eats, then DoorDash charges the restaurant more.
Oh, wow.
So they're trying to say you can't do a competitorship.
Right.
And it's just, you're just trying to get your food out there. So you're
Facts.
it's like, it'd be like us being on Spotify and YouTube, and
Uber Eats is just salty. That's what it is. They making more money than us. Let's do that.
but
For the stupidest thing.
well, no, because I mean, if they're getting charged, if the companies get charged more for being on DoorDash, but they're trying to go through Uber Eats too, I mean, that cuts business off of Uber Eats. But at the same time, like, there are people that just use DoorDash, and there are people that just use Uber Eats. They get that use all three of them, the DoorDash, Grubhub, and all that. But I don't know, man. I just think it's wrong that you have to try to charge them more, which hurts the customer more,
Facts.
just for using other outlets.
Honey, they're going to have to start tipping higher.
Like,
Period. Inflation.
and from
It's real.
my
real.
understanding, it still ain't getting no better out there. Like, I'm still in the DoorDash group and all that, and it's, yeah, you still hear the stories. I'm glad I'm not out there and doing that now. Like, I can't. It's like doing Lyft and Uber. When I did that, it was fun while it lasted. But yeah, I ain't doing no more delivery. I ain't doing no more passenger pickups. I ain't doing it.
Right. So are you still liking Amazon doing that?
Yeah, Amazon is a little different. It's just delivering the
It
packages.
turned into an interview on D-Lo, ain't it?
But yeah, it's just delivering the packages. Like, the only thing you're dealing with is when you go to the station to pick up the packages. They've been trying to change some of the rules, and things are kind of moving in a different direction. That's not.
Kind of feeling in the
Yes. So,
Alright.
but I still do it. I don't care. I'm gonna get those packages, get my money.
It's a funny thing.
Get it.
I have been feeling the heat.
Yeah.
Right.
I have. It's just a lot going on right now at
Right.
work, and I'm sustaining.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're gonna get through it. There is light at the end of the tunnel. They have hired somebody to take the place of my old position, so I won't be doing that anymore.
Okay. There
They
is
have
light at
that-
the end of the tunnel.
that person, you know that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. In advance.
Right.
In advance, y'all.
Yes, but that is a good thing, and I have met her, and I do plan to help her like in her training, but it would be in a different capacity.
Okay.
Like I'm already the operations manager over there,
Okay.
where she's gonna be like taking care of the patients that are there too, as far as being an ambassador for them.
Mm-hmm.
So we have went over things that I do, and I will take her around the shore and meet teachers.
Okay.
And introduce her
Trooper.
to some of the nurses and the staff there. Yeah, for sure.
Trooper. He a
That's what I'm supposed to
trooper.
do.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
And make sure that it's clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna be squeaky, baby. Like I'm not playing. Like I need that money. You know what I'm saying? I got places that I'm trying to reach and goals I'm trying to achieve. But right now is that trying time. Right now is that grunt work to get there.
Right.
So that's why I'm fighting so hard.
Okay.
Pray.
Yes,
But
sir.
when we come back, we got a lot to talk about. Very different angles, and of course, sports.
Yeah.
Yes, we will be there in that lounge, so you get ready, and we'll see you guys in a second.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna step into the Sports Junkie Lounge here. So we had
Hold on, let me get my comfy seat. Let me get
So-
my shoes, my loafers.
Here we go.
back. Yeah.
Sports,
Hello,
y'all.
sports.
Listen up, America. It's coming.
we had the All Star Weekend, the NBA All Star Weekend.
Okay.
I actually didn't catch too much of it. I saw the highlights and
Was Kevin
stuff
Durant
like-
there?
Yeah.
Since y'all said I don't know who that is. Last episode.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that one.
Period.
But they have the different events and stuff like that. Dunk contest, skills contests. They have a celebrity game, and it's pretty cool. It's just, but I really don't watch too much of those. I just usually watch the events here lately. But you had Tyler Hero win the 3-point contest.
Yeah. Ex-UK player.
Okay.
And then you had the Cavaliers winning the skills team challenge.
Who?
They had the skills team with the 2 players from that team.
Right.
So like from the Cavaliers, they had Evan
Donovan.
Mobley and Donovan Mitchell.
They won.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But there was they had Chris Paul and Wemby in the skill contest for the Spurs. When it got to them, because usually what happens is like, so you pass the ball, was it in 2 obstacles,
Yeah.
and then you run
Step
up,
to the
do a
3-point
layup.
line. Yeah, I've seen
You
it.
do a layup, and then or is it 3-point, and then you have to do a 3-point on the other side with the windmill. And then you have to run down the other side of the court to do a layup.
Right.
Well, what Chris Paul did and what Victor Wembanyama did was, instead of doing the 3-point, they just took the balls and threw them over there.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't make an attempt at the basket.
Yeah. So they got disqualified.
Mhm.
I don't understand that. If you're gonna be in it, do it. Like I never did really get the story about why they even did that to
It's about the time, because you're trying to get the best time.
man.
So, Chris Paul, he was just worried about winning by any means necessary, and forget showing his skills, which I don't understand what that was about, because did you see the look on Wembanyama's face when he found out they got disqualified?
Yeah.
He was toe up.
Yeah.
He was toe up. He wanted to win.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul showed him something different. He's supposed to come in here with this great 3-point shot. Then let's see it.
Yeah.
Let's see it. And what he did was he showed him, because you put pressure on your opponent by hitting a few threes.
Yeah.
Now he's got, show him what they already doubt anyway. Just
Right.
do it. And Chris Paul took that away from him.
Yeah.
He took
I
it
get
away
it.
from him.
Man, he
Yeah.
was hurt.
Yeah,
So-
he took that. Yeah,
He had
yeah.
vengeance.
They was just slinging. Yeah, they was just throwing the ball off the rack. Wasn't even shooting it at the rim.
Yeah.
Dang.
Because if you could try to complete the obstacle within a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Then the other team has to try to beat that time.
yeah, but they would go. But they shooting at it, so they already know.
Yeah.
They got booed and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
They ended up with the best time, and they came over and told him, "You disqualified." Wimbiana was like, "Oh, what?" he was heartbroken.
Dang.
And then going into the dunk contest, we have a three-peat with Matt McClung. He's actually a G League player.
Well, no, he's with Orlando now.
Is he actually with Orlando now? Did they
Yeah,
bring him up?
he was the G League. If it was Philadelphia,
Yeah.
76ers, who he was with first. He won that. They brought him up and sent him right back down. I mean, I think he went back down right after he won it in Philadelphia.
Well, he three-peated on the dunk contest, which has gotten other people's attention as far as like John Morant was like, well, what if I get in there? We'll get in there.
Right.
The thing that gets me about the dunk contest, where I used to love watching it, I think there hasn't been one since the 2001 with Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter and all them. Besides like the Gordon and Levine dunk contest, but other than that, these dunk contests have been garbage. But you see this G League player come in but it all started with LeBron, because everybody talked about if LeBron was going to get into the dunk contest, and every year he'd be like, "No, I ain't doing it." And then he would show up in practice and do some dunk contest worthy dunk. Like, you're making a mockery of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it just where all the other great players, as far as Dr. J, Michael Jordan, Vince Carter, like none of them
Wilkins.
Yeah, Dominique Wilkins. None of them shied away from the dunk contest. They wanted to just participate in it. It was an honor to. Like, All-Star Weekend was like an honor to do.
Yeah, that's a good point right there. Yeah.
So, and it just nowadays it's just more or less of a show than what it used to be. Like, they used to play defense. Like, the All-Star game was something to watch. You know what I mean? Like, I loved
pride,
watching.
man.
Yeah.
To be if you was known for defense, you was going against an all-star who's known for being a great scorer.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see mano y mano.
Yeah, that's supposed to be like the best basketball you're gonna watch.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it just nowadays it's hard to watch. But they tried something different this time. They had a tournament style kind of play through the whole weekend. And each team, they had like, I think 4 teams. Candace Parker had a team.
Shaq had a team.
Charles Barkley had one, and Kenny Smith.
Right.
But so they played in a tournament style, which Shaq's team was like the OGs. Like, that's what they're considered the old men of the league right now. But it was which really Jaylen Brown's not really, he's a young one. But Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, James Harden. It was supposed to be Kyrie Irving and LeBron, but them two was out. LeBron said he was gonna not play the All-Star game because it was like an hour before start time.
30 minutes.
Yeah. So you wanted to get counted for an all-star spot, but you didn't want to play. You could have gave that spot to somebody else. Like, that is what's
Then
wrong
took
with
the
league.
picture without his unit, without the team uniform
Yeah.
on. It's all about him, man.
Like, that's
Yeah, they got to stand out there with the rising stars, and they put his son on the rising stars. Trash.
yeah. It's just
He ain't done nothing to be a rising star, but shine in the G League. Like, come on, man.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Get
and
him. I'll be so glad when he retires, man.
well, and that's
Wow.
the thing though. Like, even
Because
that
Bronny's up there taking up space too, man, and the whole world sees it, except them Bronny sexuals. Oh my gosh! They like, oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's a whole thing right now.
They call us haters for stating the obvious.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have gotten drafted. He should not have gotten drafted. He should have been a free agent at best. and he's a 55th overall pick, second round, and got a deal.
I don't even think
it's unheard of.
Yeah,
he got a deal, $4.5 million, something like that.
I think it was 7.5 because LeBron he took a $7 million cut. And also they came up with a contract.
Him and LeBron got to stand out on the court together the first game, and it's been a mockery ever since.
Yeah.
And they know it, and they defend it. They defend it. What's wrong with a man for helping his son fulfill his dream? It's not about that. It's about the basketball fans wanting to see legitimate players play.
Yeah.
That's it. We don't care nothing about all that jersey sales and all that. I don't care nothing about the Lakers. It was a great business move. When did fans care about that?
No.
When did we care about what the jersey sales and shit was? Can we just admit the obvious that he's taking up somebody else's spot because his game is trash?
No.
And be okay with that. But they hype up every little thing he does.
And that's gonna be the problem. Like I knew that was gonna be the issue. When he was in high school and they was asking him if he was going to be in the league sometime, and he was like, well, just let him be in high school. And then the day after his graduation is when he started prepping him for the NBA.
He went to USC though.
Well, hyping him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really say prepping him, but it's a different type
Yeah,
of
he
prep.
was one of the top. Yeah,
But,
he was top. He was McDonald's All-American type. And he was all right. He wasn't the best. He wasn't even the best player on his high school team.
Yeah, but when he got to college, it just bombed. Like what he's doing now.
Yeah, well, he had that cardiac arrest.
Anyways, but yeah, so
that's a cardiac arrest. What?
Yeah, he had to sit out.
Yeah,
he actually had a cardiac arrest.
So he's still playing.
Yeah,
that was when he was in college. He didn't jump straight pros. He went to USC for a year. Well, 2 because he had 2 years.
Yeah, he played with Dennis Rodman's son.
Oh shit.
Oh.
At USC.
And how old are they now?
Well, he may be 21 now. I don't know, or going to be 21.
Dennis Rodman's son's that
because he only played, like I said, he was at
Dennis
USC for
Rodman's
2
son,
seasons because his
his
cardiac arrest shortened his first season, and they cleared him to play. They cleared him to play, so. His freshman, I guess, would be his freshman year, but he was there. He had already been there 2 years, working out with him.
Yeah.
The cardiac arrest shut him down. And so they cleared him to play, and he played for USC, and he averaged like 2.5 points a game. I mean, he was nothing. He was coming off the bench. He was nothing.
And they still took him?
And they took him second, 55th, the 55th pick, the second round. That's good. And then it's good, but it's not no guaranteed deal. Right. And after drafting him, the next day he had a deal. The next day, or the next day after the draft was over, he had a deal. They had signed him to guarantee.
Most of the time, when you come out of the draft, especially that low, they'll give you a 2-way deal, which means you can play in the NBA, but they can send you down to the G League when they.
I remember you talking about
that.
He got an NBA deal.
When he got there, they was like, we're not signing no 2-way deal. That was his whole thing when they were coming into the draft. He signed a 2-way deal. He got
money, and they drafted.
But he got to the Lakers. LeBron got him to the Lakers, took a pay cut so they can pay his son.
But look, it's the second round. He got his deal before the first round draft pick did.
Yeah.
How is that? How?
He's royalty, man.
But that's what I'm saying. America knows this, but them bronze sexuals, they don't care about that. The integrity of the sport just doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
They don't care about that. They just care about daisies and flowers and roses and skipping through the meadows with LeBron to his retirement. They're gonna ride with him till the wheels fall the hell off.
Well, that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that it's just this generation of
And
players.
you can't
Like,
stand it,
I can't because they know the truth. And
Well-
then he went down to the G League and had got 31. They was like, "See, we told you, it's a G League."
well, that
It was G League. And they was like, "We told you, he's cooking them. This is G League. It's all it is scoring. Nobody's passing. They try to get to the NBA. Everybody's a gun. Everybody's a gun. If you're a point guard, you are screwed in the G League because everybody's looking to score, and you're not getting the rock. If you ain't got no, you better have a shot. You better have a shot. You don't be a true point guard and not have a jumper because you when you pass it, you will not get it back. Everybody's trying to get to the NBA. Everybody's a shooter. He gets 31. Oh my gosh, we told you he was coming, and then they brought him right back up. He had a few trash games. They took him down. Then they said, okay, he's only going to suit up with us for home games. So now he gets to pick and choose when he gets to stay in the G League and ride with the Lakers. The world sees it, man. That's all I'm gonna say about it, man. That's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It is. But man, that's a pretty sweet deal.
Yes, I see, right, and I get that.
But that's fucked up, right?
I get that, but my point is that it's not about basketball anymore.
Yeah.
And so more people care about that glamour, and give him credit for that. And it has nothing to do with basketball. He has no skill. I ain't gonna say doesn't have any skills, but
it's more of a fascination with who he is.
Yes.
Well, and
and then they just forget about the basketball side of it all of a sudden.
Well,
I don't care about his jersey sales. He belongs there because of his jersey sales, but he's averaging 0.00 points a game.
Well, and that's the whole thing. It started with this whole.
It took him 12 games to score.
It's with this whole generation with the whole. It's bigger than basketball movement, like it. You had player empowerment because you get players that don't want to play, which is bad for the fans. You know, the last MVP that played 82 games for the whole season was Kobe. That was the last MVP to play all 82 games. So, but you get players not want to play. They'll take an all-star spot and not want to play. These fans come to see them play. I could have dreamed of going to see a dunk contest, but nowadays, I can't do All-Star Weekend. Like, I'll watch some highlights, but I'm not really as invested that I used to be.
Right.
So
Well,
I checked out the tournament style. It was pretty cool. You could already tell who was going to win. So,
Well,
but on the UK side though,
come on. Didn't they beat Vandy?
Yeah. So we
Period. I'm sorry I brought it out. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, we did lose to Texas.
I didn't.
Which I kind of seen that coming.
But I did hear about Vandy.
But we did bring it back for Vandy.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
So hopefully we can keep that momentum going for Alabama.
Are you upset?
No, I was just thinking back to the Texas game. He was talking about
You were in mesmerization.
I was thinking when he said that he said that he kind of felt that, and in my mind I'm like, how? How, man? Texas is trash this year.
Well,
yeah, I want to know how you kind of figured that because they were at home.
Yeah, I figured with the away games, like we had problems with the away games.
Okay, cool.
But no, I was hoping that they would win.
Yeah.
Trust me on that. Like I said, they have.
I'm like, how you figure that?
It's your fan base.
No,
way.
One of the hardest teams.
You the one that identified them over here minding my business. I'm like, but I was indeed thought like, what do you mean? You can't figure that? Yeah. Good save, bro.
No, Texas I was worried about. but because it is an away game, and we have problems with an away game, especially that distance of an away game. They have troubles with. The defense kind of did slack a little bit. They couldn't really keep up with the switches, but the offense just wasn't scoring.
And we didn't have Butler and Jackson also.
Yeah,
that hurt us.
Yeah.
What was they fucking?
They hurt.
Yeah, like they just.
Funky. I'm sorry, y'all.
That's all right.
But and that was the issue too.
So the guards
that game
ate up.
that game would have went different if we had Butler.
Yeah.
So
they had the freshman guard for Texas got a career high in points, and the other guard got a career high in points too.
Yeah.
They ate up poor Noah and Perry. They come off the bench. If they're not hitting threes, they're a liability.
Yeah,
and they could not keep them guards in front of them.
And that's the thing. When you have a player like
we fought
Butler,
to the end though.
Like Butler, he's a defensive intense defensive person.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a guy like that on defense, it brings the rest of their team's defense up.
Yeah.
When you take that away, the defense slacks off.
I see what you're saying.
So with him not being
Williams
on the
couldn't
roster,
make his free throws. If he makes his free throws, we win that game.
yeah. So but Williams, I think he's kind of learning his role that if he stays near the basket, nobody can't touch him.
Right, he was bullying down there.
Yeah,
he was doing that.
So if he keeps that up, I think we'll be fine.
Right. Who's next? Who they play next?
Alabama. It's a home game.
No, it's in Alabama.
Is it? Yep, it is Alabama.
Yeah.
Look, your whole voice went down a different octave.
Yeah,
it's them road games, man. I'm telling you,
It's at 6 o'clock. But my opinion of that
today,
tomorrow.
So
Saturday.
Yeah, I'll be at Black
Saturday. So my take on that is you're going to always be in it against Alabama because they are nonstop 3-point shooting. Nate Oates, they coach. They have the green light the whole time, the whole game. So there's never a bad three. So you're always in it because even if they off, they're going to keep shooting it. They're going to keep shooting it. So the key to that is take advantage, and they will turn it over. They're going to turn it over. They're going to get some turnovers because they zip up and down. They're going to turn it over. So UK's just got to take advantage of that. They have to hit the timely threes. They have to maintain it. They have to hit their free throws.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
They have to be able to score off the turnovers. Take advantage. In Alabama, you got to be damn near perfect because they gonna make a run.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and that's I don't know, man. Them road games, man, it's just hard to tell. So
you never know; they might surprise you.
Yeah,
they might actually pull one out and
hey,
be like, "Okay, true, we got this."
Has there been a lot of good surprises this year?
Don't know, but maybe they're still going to surprise. They'll make it all just in light of that Omega
Okay, I'm sorry.
If they can keep their defense, if they can get the defense up, then it'll be a lot better. Because I mean, the offense is kind of clicking right now. It's a league. If you live by the three, you die by the three. So
all right. And with that being said, when we come back, we are going to dive into Uncle Cha-Cha's brain.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right.
All right, America, welcome back.
Welcome back.
It's my time to shine. So,
come on, Shane.
My segment is let's talk about it. So, let's talk about it.
Let me get something to drink. Real quick.
So, do that. Why don't y'all? Let's talk about this. So, let's talk about it. And this is really not about Trump. It's really not about Trump. So let's talk about this 11-year-old child that committed suicide because she was getting bullied in Gainesville, Texas. And I'm going to say her name. Jocelyn Rojo Carranza, 11-year-old child. and she was getting bullied. They were telling her that, and she's born here, so she's a citizen. And
Of Lexington or like the United States?
no, in the United States. She was born in the United States.
I thought you said here with conviction.
Here in the, well, yeah,
Like
well,
you
she's
meant
Latino.
what-
Well,
Okay.
you'll understand why I had to
Yeah.
make that clear. So at first she overheard, she just overheard students being told that we're going to tell on you and get you deported because you're illegal, because you're illegal immigrants. And, ICE, we're going to call ICE on you, this, that, and the third. And she's overhearing
no.
this. They're not talking to her yet.
Yeah.
So she's overhearing it. And
And she's 11?
yes. And
Wow.
a friend of her daughter, a friend of this 11-year-old's mom came to the mother and said, yeah, she's been terrified. She's been hearing that ISIS is going to come and deport them, and she's just been terrified. And so that was the first time that she had heard anything about that. She was just shocked that her daughter even knew what ICE was at 11 years old. And
Dang.
so then the bullying turned to her. And apparently they said that they were saying things like, you're like I said, and this is why the part about her being born here is significant, because they were saying your parents are going to come and get deported and you're going to be left here all alone. And she kept hearing that.
She was terrified.
Yeah. And her mom did not
mortified.
find this out until after she died.
After her daughter died?
Mhm.
The daughter died from
and
what?
they knew about it in the school. She was getting counseling.
She died from getting bullied? She unalived herself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Will you wait for me to say unalive?
Unalived her.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
She died
Yeah.
on February the 8th. She lived for 5 days. Her
Like
mom,
after being wounded?
no, after she tried to take her life.
Oh.
She lived for 5 days after her mom found her. Her mom found her unresponsive.
Oh,
And
no.
she lived, she tried to unalive herself on the 3rd.
Mm-hmm. And she lived for 5 days and then went
And
down.
died
and
on the
her
8th. Unalive on the 8th, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And her mom didn't know anything about, and she was getting counseling at the school and her mom knew nothing about it.
That is like 13 reasons why. I wonder if she left like something to explain what happened.
It's
How
so,
did she find out? Like, this is a Netflix movie.
yes.
Series. I'm not movie, series.
She-
13 reasons
Yeah.
why, but the little girl's 11 years old.
Yeah. Oh man.
What happened?
Yeah, she was getting bullied. So okay, so that's a good question. How did it get to the mom or whatever? So let's talk about it. So,
Yeah.
because she has unanswered questions too. Like I said, she didn't find out that her daughter was getting bullied and was seeing a counselor at the school until after she died. They never even contacted her about it.
About it? So how often
At
had
all.
her daughter said something?
At all. It was she started getting bullied in January.
Ooh.
Yes, and she died February the 8th. Yes.
Come on, lady. Because y'all gonna pay for everything my daughter had to suffer and go through. Run me it.
Yeah.
Go
yeah.
my name now. Understand that. It's Kathy
right.
Griffin name. Elementary. But no, that is insane.
So she's been
That's
trying to talk to
legit.
investigators because they've heard about it. So the FBI has gotten involved and the local police, the local sheriffs, they investigating this. Yeah. So it's a whole investigation going on.
Kind of curious how that could end up panning out, though.
You know?
But it could fall back on the parents.
Yeah, keep up on that.
At this point,
Yeah.
they're taking it very seriously, especially with this administration. I'm telling you, America, it is not about
But
Trump.
wouldn't you take it that seriously?
Well, yeah, but
like,
kind of like
we
if
going.
And then the superintendents say that they didn't know until till she unalived herself that they didn't even know. The superintendent said They just now, it's just news to them.
Like nobody
too.
checked those kids.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
'cause it makes you
and-
wonder
and-
about
right,
like
and-
escalation
and-
and all that. It's
Yeah.
like, who,
Like I said, so
But
the
why
school
didn't the
knew.
mom notice something was different with
The
her daughter?
school-
Because I'm sure the expression and the energy and the mind space she was in was.
It's hard to say.
Yeah,
I,
a lot of the times it could just be.
At an 11-year-old kid, though.
yeah. And today's 11-year-old is different than yesterday's 11-year-old. They got a little more freedom to move. I'm not saying on their own, but they can go. They can come in the house and run upstairs and
But I
get
will
on their
say-
iPad, get on YouTube, do this and that, and nobody will know the wiser because the iPad electronics is kind of taken away from the household communication.
That's true.
So it'll be easy for it to slide up in there.
That's very
But
true.
also too, I will say that coming from somebody who has dealt with like depression and stuff, and that's when about the time that I started noticing it. It's very well possible that it's hard when stuff like that happens to a young child. Cause like depression and stuff, cause I'd get it and they'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah,
"Why are you
like, I've
depressed? Like, what are you
experienced it
depressed about?"
before.
And I'm like, I don't know. There's times where I get depressed out and I couldn't tell you what the reason was, but when you get, but add it to an 11-year-old that's getting bullied,
Yeah,
that
that's
can
true.
push somebody to their limits.
Yeah, you don't know
It's-
somebody's emotional state, and how they
Yeah.
how
exactly.
they operate. Yeah,
And we all
everybody's
know.
different. I know
like,
how
shit,
I would handle it.
Kids could be mean.
Yeah.
But I also was a kid, and I gotta understand that I was a really fragile kid. Like everything hurt my feelings. I didn't think about that, but I was a really timid kid because at a very young age I knew my sexuality.
Right.
I don't think anybody, I heard it one time in reference to a guy that was wearing and I see this guy. He was wearing a blue collared shirt that looks like one of the professional crisp cut long sleeve collared shirts, but it didn't have sleeves. And it was almost like a blue jeans. And he had on blue jeans shorts, normal shorts. And he had on this fanny pack backpack, and somebody that I was in the car with called him gay, and I was like, oh, that's what it is. Because I knew, but I remember being 5 when this happened.
Right.
I remember it vividly, and I remember the smell of the car that I was in. It's crazy. But back to what you were saying. What else do you have for us, Cha-Cha?
So-
We get so far off your topic.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
Brings back
we were all
nostalgic
intrigued.
memories. Yeah.
Don't worry. I was so.
I've been told I was the best storyteller, just to say.
So they've been investigating the
But it was
situation,
true.
and this is sad right here. The mom is saying we don't know if she made the decision in fear of being alone,
Yeah.
or if she had been told to do it so that she would not have to be alone.
Oh, so they think that she unalived herself because of the message.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
And
what she
not
said.
because of being
They were
bullied.
telling her that. They were
That
telling
she
her
was
that
going to be alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because somebody was going to either take
That
her
ICE
or
was
take
going
her
to come and
mom.
get her parents. They were going
Yeah.
to call
Oh,
ICE on
yeah, I
on her
remember
parents. Yeah.
I didn't think that she would unalive herself because of that. I thought it was because she was being bullied for it.
No.
People are attacking me for
No.
it, so I
Yeah,
don't want
'cause,
to
I
be
mean,
here.
what-
Not
so now,
necessarily.
What
so
could you
now,
Yeah.
so now you understand.
I'm going at it. I didn't want to say all those cuss words because that would have been
Beep,
bad.
beep, beep. But,
Yeah.
but that goes back to
But I
my
would have
point.
hate them though.
It goes back to my point that
Yeah.
that's why I said she was born here. That's
Yeah.
why they kept saying they're going to take your parents and not her because she was a citizen. She was
Yeah.
born here and they knew it.
No,
At 11
but
years
the
old, they
thing
knew
is-
she was.
The thing is with Trump, now I get it more because the thing is, and this is not to bring him up, but to
That's
bring
why.
him up.
That's why. Now you see why I've been saying
Yeah.
this is not about Trump because it
is.
could. Yes, but this
It
is not
very
about
much
him.
Yeah.
It's about kids that age
Yeah.
having that evil in their heart.
Yes.
That's what it's about for me. So now you're about to make me go into my. Reel them in, reel them in.
Come back,
Reel them
Cha-Cha,
in,
come back.
reel them in. It's going to all come together in the end.
Okay.
You know, and so that's it. So yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on this. Like I said, there's an ongoing investigation, and at their age, I don't know what kind of charges they're gonna bring, but the parents will pay. It's gonna fall on the parents because that's where they learned it.
Yeah. Or that's where they didn't feel like they were loved and appreciated enough to open up and say something.
Right, that's the victim.
To them,
that's the victim.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
But that's the big question. Is like, where is the liability ultimately going to fall?
Yeah, like
It's
why
gonna
wasn't
be on
your
the bully's
kid
parents because they
secure
had
enough to
at
tell
that
you?
age they had to learn it from somewhere.
Well, that's true, but I mean,
That's
I'm just
true.
kind of like in a state like Texas, but then again, I don't know. You said the FBI was involved, so I'm kind of like
The school,
keep us in the
school
loop
because
for
they
real.
didn't even inform the mom.
We need to
the
keep that
mom never
paperwork
knew.
right here.
yeah, it makes you wonder about like how things are structured.
Somebody's
there.
going to somebody's
yo.
going to suffer.
Yeah, you got to keep us posted.
Somebody's going to suffer.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I will. Yeah, somebody's going to suffer because I'm anxious. Yeah, because the kids are underage.
Yeah.
They're underage.
How is
So
she supposed to protect herself?
Right. I'm talking about the bullies. I'm talking about the bullies
Yeah.
are underage.
Yeah, y'all little delinquents are going in. I don't care.
See,
Yeah, that's not right.
But that's what
Like, y'all cause her-
and I want to see. I want to see if that is the kind of anger
That the mom
comes
had.
out that comes out of America from
Yeah.
this.
Oh,
How many
yeah.
are going to be like
I'm
you
ready.
know,
Keep me in the
see,
loop.
no, I
I'm
don't
not
care
going
if
to
they. I don't care
boycott,
if they're 8,
but-
9, and 10. They need to go to big people jail.
Yeah.
Like you said.
I'm not gonna be like that, but like y'all need to be punished.
You said. What he say? Throw it in y'all get
They need
detained.
to go now.
Little delinquents.
That was just my initial reaction.
He said them little.
That was just my initial reaction. Stop it.
They out of here.
All right.
But see, that's what I want to see if that's what the climate
What's
of
the
America is
energy?
going to be behind this.
All right.
Because it's all over national news.
Yes.
So yeah, I will keep America posted. They're up in that school. The
Say no more.
FBI, everybody.
All right.
How you gonna not tell the mom?
Yeah,
And she
that's-
getting counseling. How? That's crazy.
Period.
that seems like the most likely place that's going to be held liable is probably the school.
Mm-hmm.
So when we come back, we'll get into our next segment,
Yeah.
the Green Room with Omega Green.
Yeah.
What up, y'all? I would like you to step with me into the green room
Yeah.
Let's
for a
go.
moment,
Yeah.
Let's go.
at least.
Okay.
Now, it's a little bit of history, so it might be kind of boring. I'm a little bit of a history nerd, somewhat. So
I like
I'll try to-
history.
Yeah.
Well,
This
not
is
everybody
boring.
does. I've met plenty of people who are like, history is boring as shit.
But honestly, your voice is perfect for telling.
Aw,
stuff
thank
like
you.
this. Yeah, let's go.
I appreciate that.
We've all stepped into the green room.
All right. Well, in the throes of the Great Depression, one man emerged to become president,
Oh gosh.
to meet the moment. And when people catapulted him from relative obscurity, that's a total lie. He didn't know who he was. To become president, FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt, basically unleashed a wide-reaching number of policies that impacted the American public for many years to come, laid the foundation for a lot of the economic stuff that preceded us.
Okay.
Are any of you all familiar with the New Deal?
Somewhat.
No, I remember they taught us stuff in school here and there, but
Yeah.
But that was stuff that I was not listening to because it wasn't really what I liked and stuff. So
Exactly.
that's
And
cool.
see, that's-
because it was forced at me.
yeah, and that's kind of the point. Most people kind of,
I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't know.
well, no, it's real talk. The Great Depression was caused by a great deal of things, not one thing in particular, but at that time, whenever it happened, there was a lot of deregulation, people running rampant, doing questionable things with money within the systems, banking, etc.
Right.
So when the stock market crashed back in the day, this was kind of to address that. There was a lot of stuff going on.
Facts.
The Dust Bowl,
Yeah.
like there was famine. There was a lot of things that needed to be addressed. And-
Unemployment.
Yep, exactly. So, whenever he became president, FDR became president. Basically, he was like, "Yo, we have to completely revamp everything, like reform, and introduce policies to create like safety nets for the people because times were tough, people were starving, and things were very, very difficult, you know, at home and abroad." So, on March 4th, 1933, during some of the worst days of the Great Depression, Roosevelt, he did things like declaring a 4-day bank holiday because at that point, people were on the rush to kind of like get all their money out of the banks and everything. They were afraid of it being stolen or not being there in the morning. So when things were bad, everybody taking their money out of the banks all at once is not exactly a good thing, right?
Right.
So once he got pulled into the mix, he went on to address things for the people. And the 4-day banking holiday was basically to kind of say, hey, let's kind of try to start getting some shit in order, you know? And then he also had things that were called fireside chats, which were basically where he would talk directly to the American public. And they could hear what his thoughts were on stuff and how he was, you know, trying to improve the situation at home. So in the fireside chat, he basically urged Americans to put their savings back into the banks, that, you know, for us to get things back open and kind of rolling the back the way they should. That was one of the things where he was like, the money's got to go back in the banks. And then, you know, by the end of the month, almost 3/4 of them had completely reopened. So he also asked Congress at that point to take the first step towards ending prohibition, because at that time it was bad. You know, obviously gangsters running rampant and doing their thing, but also from the government's perspective, they're probably like, yo, look at all that money we're missing out on. We're empowering all kinds of people. So it wasn't much longer after that, you know, Americans were able to buy beer and liquor again. You know, the industry was revamped.
And booming.
Exactly. So we were able to take advantage of that. But he also created like a lot of other he created a lot of other programs too to kind of help the people. He did establish Social Security. He also created a thing called the WPA, the Works Progress Administration, to provide jobs for unemployed people at the time. They weren't allowed to compete with the private industry, so they mainly focused on things like building post offices, bridges, schools, highways, parks, things like the public works projects that would keep people employed on a local level and allow the state to kind of build itself up and do that. But he also managed to get Congress to pass a bill that paid farmers to, as counterintuitive as it seems, it paid farmers to not grow shit for a bit. They went ahead and compensated them for their time and stuff in advance, basically so that our supplies could dwindle a little bit, and then the price of it would go up so we could charge more for it, you know, on the international market. So, you know, these are just a couple things that he did, but he also helped in a lot of other stuff too, like banking. There was a thing that they passed called the Glass-Steagall Act. Part of what led to the Depression was the crash of the markets, right? Like banking and stuff like that. But the big thing that most people aren't aware of is that there's a difference between investment banking and commercial banking, right? You got commercial banking, and that's basically to where you go in, you can have a bank account, you can have savings and all that stuff. Investment banking is obviously investing in companies and stocks and stuff like that. Well, when you invest in stuff, when you invest in stuff, it's always a gamble, right? Well, back in the day,
I've been making some money on Bitcoin. No, I ain't gonna.
No, it's facts. But it's a gamble, right?
Yeah.
So when you have commercial banking, which is regular banking, and investment banking, the thing that we were brought up in was to have them kept separate. So basically, like, the risk is compartmentalized.
Right.
Back in the day, there weren't any rules regarding that.
Oh boy.
So they were basically allowed to take people's money and go and gamble with it and in a sense, and then it all came crashing down because that's part of how shit begins. You get involved in the stock market, and then different people have different valuations, and then you start the bubble, and the bubble eventually pops, and then who gets fucked? The little people.
The little man.
The little
Kind of like how they do your 401ks nowadays. Like you put some of it in stocks, and so that way you can see if your growth is going up, your 401k is going up. So
dividend, you earn dividends too.
Yeah. Yep. So it's kind of like
dividends.
That's where they kind of took that system too.
No, real talk. But after the disaster happened with the Great Depression and whatnot, people were like, we got to do something about that. And that was basically Glass-Steagall, one of the things that he instituted, to where it broke the banks up and kind of got into a position to where things were a little bit more
regulated,
secure, to make sure that there wasn't as much insidious shit going on and that people's money was insured. But, you know, despite all of that stuff, there were a lot of people that were against him, called him a socialist because he wanted to build programs for the people. He developed, you know, like unemployment, things like that. Hang on a second.
That sounds deep though. Like when you said we didn't like history, like we into it.
FDR is the reason why we have 4 terms.
Yeah.
He was president forever. He's the longest standing president that we've ever had. What was like 16 terms or something like that? 16 years.
Shit. He was in there for a hot minute. He served 3. I think he died during his 3rd.
Oh wait.
Yeah. But I mean, at least they kind of took it upon themselves at that point in time to be like, okay,
this is what's happening.
2 terms is good.
Yeah, because that would have been long.
I think they kind of need to do that on the Senate.
You talking about that made me feel like something we weren't going to talk about, but like he's taking it back to before that.
Well, part of the reason why I feel like it's something that people need to know about and address is because I feel like human history, we go in cycles.
No.
Right? Human creatures are habitual. You know, we like to do the same things one way or another. So, especially when it comes to like all the stuff that's happening now, it is kind of almost like 100 years ago.
So are you saying like Donald Trump is...
No, I'm not saying I'm not comparing Donald Trump to FDR, certainly not.
No.
In a different way, quite possibly. I'm more or less in just outside of any kind of partisan or political views. I'm saying that everybody that is concerned with like our economic policy, how successful and competitive we are globally, things like that, no matter what side of the aisle you're from or whatever, we all can agree on the fact that, you know, people should have good paying jobs. You should be able to afford to live. You know, you don't have to want to be rich or anything, but average people should at least make a wage that you can at the very least survive, but in the big picture thrive on, because ultimately this New Deal stuff was the beginnings of the middle class being built.
Yeah.
I mean, there were things introduced like the GI Bill to where veterans could go to college at state-sponsored universities and things like that. And then, like I said, it also established a bunch of other things like workers' rights in a lot of different ways, people's ability to unionize, all different kinds of stuff that now we've either forgotten about or we've kind of lost the significance in everything that's gone on, you know, that goes on in our everyday lives.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been roughly close to 100 years. It's 2025 now. And in spring of 1935, Roosevelt launched a second leg of the New Deal, because the first step was a series of programs that were unleashed in his first like several hundred days of office. so he got things moving. But at that point in time, like, it didn't exactly pull everybody out of the depression because there was a lot of things to address. So there was a second part that came. And in the second part, in 1935, the National Labor Relations Act was created, or they created the National Labor Relations Board to supervise union elections and to prevent businesses from treating their workers unfairly. In August, FDR signed the Social Security Act, which guaranteed pensions to millions of Americans, set up a system of unemployment insurance, and also stipulated that the federal government would help care for dependent children and the disabled. So, welfare, you know?
Right.
So for...
Facts. You being technical, like I'm keeping up, but then you like drilling into you, and I really catch on to it. Like I'm really drawn into what you're talking about.
Well, because on paper, it's one thing to read it and be like,
you don't
yo,
want to read it.
Yo, this happened, you know? But then when you look at like how it affects everybody, either your life directly or everybody's lives around you, you're kind of like, oh, so it's like, I'm sure we've all known somebody on food stamps. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we've all known somebody that's had WIC or something like that. Mm-hmm. And like a lot of this stuff.
Still using it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, a lot of this stuff is is present in everybody's lives, but we just kind of glaze over it because...
And it's present in everybody's life too.
Yeah.
And see, the system, when he created it, was just temporary. The welfare system was just for you to
get up on your feet.
Yeah. And then that
on.
was it. But, you know, now it's
being abused.
It's a crutch.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying that some people don't need it, because they do.
But they're allowed it.
Yeah.
But some of them stay, some of them, I mean, I've seen where females will quit working because they don't want to make too much money when they look like they're about to get a raise. Yeah, they you know, I can't afford to make as much money. This ain't enough. I got to, you know, now they got a car payment, you know, cause they and they Section 8,
right?
You know, and so you see the abuse in it. You see the abuse in it, and you know, back then it was just till you got back on your feet, and back then they wanted to get on their feet. They didn't want to feel like they had to take a handout. You know, felt, you know, they, you know, taking a handout was, you know, you was kind of weak.
Yeah.
You know, weak and uninspired.
They like this now. Hand out, ready for it now.
Yeah, but it's a very nuanced situation though, because there are people like in any sector or anything that are gonna, you know, abuse the government, things like that. But I also feel like collectively, like we're people in the lower classes are just in kind of a pinch, because it's like if you end up on welfare or something like that, kind of like you said, it's like you can't make too much, you know, working. So then it's kind of like either you get past and make, you know, to try to do more for yourself, but then it's like you still ain't making enough to do for yourself to where you feel like you still require some kind of assistance.
Right.
It's like, bro, they ain't paying you enough. Like you're not making, and then even if you get, you know,
the raise, if you
job,
get the raise and it push you over, it's like, this is not enough. I'm putting in my 2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's like kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation.
Catch 22.
But you know, I mean, the human condition seems very familiar, you know, as it was around about 100 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But that is also why the idea of the New Deal at the time, and even now, outside of the Green New Deal and all that stuff, which we'll cover at another point in time, I'm sure, the idea of just substantial reform to ensure security for the lower classes is, and into the future will be important, should definitely be something that is discussed constantly, especially in the environment that we're in now.
Right.
One way or another, no matter which way you look at it, if you're a fan of things being deconstructed and reconstructed, then they really should be reconstructed in a way that's going to help the majority of people.
Right.
You would think.
Right.
But we're getting ready to find that out pretty soon. You know.
It's gonna sting a little bit. It's gonna sting. It's gonna sting. There's some people that they not gonna believe it till they feel it.
That's true.
They're not gonna believe it till they feel it.
But the difference is, though, is that, like, with everything that's happening now, situations kind of like there have been blocks on some of the stuff that has happened that the current administration has wanted to do.
Right.
And the similarities and the differences. The similarity would be like there's been the blocks because when FDR did the New Deal and everything, they basically said, you know, you're wanting to establish like all these programs for people is an overreach. It's like government overreach. It's unconstitutional, right? So at the time, like they pretty much said that like, nah, you can't do any of this. But at the end of the day, he threatened to stack the court and was like, yo, if you continue being obstructionist or whatever, then I'm going to add some seats and I'm going to pack it with some people to kind of balance things out. And then from that point on, whoop, corrected, bro. It's where they were like, all right, we're not a fan of everything, but we'll kind of get shit rolling.
Right.
You know, and then the programs unveiled themselves. Now, what really ended up pulling us out of the Great Depression was, can anybody guess?
No,
I think you all know.
Really?
It was World War II.
It pulled us out of the Great Depression?
Yeah.
I was thinking
Because we won it?
Well, because manufacturing went up.
Yep. Bingo,
'cause
my
what?
man.
Manufacturing. We in World War II, we was one of the biggest
Why
manufacturing
was it so
countries. So when our production went up, and they started putting more hours into stuff, our economy kind of boomed.
Yeah, we were sending like, we're building tanks and all kinds of shit, you know, for the war machine. So,
and we were supplying them to allied countries.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
now that didn't fix everything. But once we were out of the Depression and everybody had more money in their pockets and all these programs were there, corporate tax rates like 91% to pay for programs for the people. Then, you know, after the time of FDR, he passes, and even people who came in after him, these are people that are, you know, again, like it ain't even a partisan thing, like Republicans after him continued the same thing. The programs continued. And then we had our golden age of economic expansion.
Right.
The big expansion of the middle class.
The big bang
Yep.
of the middle class.
People came back from the war, baby boomers, off and running, bro.
Here we go.
Well-educated electorate, security in your future, in retirement, all that shit, man.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Shout out
fighting
to
for.
FDR, y'all.
That's what we're fighting for
FDR
right
is
now.
in the building today. Feel his energy.
That's what we're fighting for.
Yeah,
Right now.
I mean, because back in the day, it was the same type of stuff. You know, some people were doing extremely well. Everybody else was kind of feeling the brunt of it. And then stuff happened, like the Dust Bowl, market crash, all that shit.
And market crash had the men committing suicide, unaliving themselves.
Ooh, hey.
I mean, well, it's like what they were saying, like some of the polls and stuff that I seen that said that by the time we get a retirement age, we wouldn't have a retirement.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy, man. Like we gonna be working until a grave.
Right.
Yeah, real talk. So I think outside of this, the overall idea for the people, everybody, is just we could use a new deal. Because what we've been getting in recent times has not been the best. And I do believe that we can all agree upon that.
Yes, sir.
Well, y'all, that's the word in the green room with Omega Green. And when we come back, we will dive into our final segment, which is Pop. It's culture with me, Javi.
Yeah.
We'll see you in a second.
Yes.
All right, y'all. So welcome back to
pop. It's culture with me, Javi. So, first and foremost, I want to talk about traitors. Like, this season has really, like, did a number on me. I don't know if y'all have all seen it, but it's on Peacock.
Right.
It's in season 3. It's got characters like Bob the drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race. It's got Danielle Reyes. She's from Big Brother. She's a popular character for some reason from Big Brother, and on the show she's a traitor. And I can say all this, it's not spoilers alerts. The season is already out. It's far into the season, so people should know the show. But she's a bitch, okay? Like, she's a traitor with another girl and another guy. I can't remember their names. I'm still looking at them as we speak.
I think I know.
That's Danielle.
Yeah, they got
Rob and Chriselle. No, it's not Chriselle.
No.
Let me see.
What's her name? But Rob.
She's the one with the weird face.
They're both from Survivor.
Yes, they all know each other. Like
they know Bob because apparently, and I gotta go back and watch the season of Survivor that he's on because apparently, like when he walked in, everybody kind of got quiet. They're like, "Nah, we don't want him here." like he's a gamer. Like we don't want him here.
Her name's Carolyn, and she's from Survivor.
Yeah.
And then there's the Lord Ivar from British royalty. He's like the cousin or something. And then it's Sierra Miller. She's from Summer House, whatever the fuck that is. And then there's Bob Harper. And he's from the Biggest Loser as far as weight. Like, he lost a lot of weight. He's the gangling. He's the girl.
For real.
And then there's Robin Dixon, and she's from the Real Housewives of Potomac. And then there's the Real Housewives of New Jersey member Dolores.
Yeah.
There we go. Tongue was not working. And then there's people that has been eliminated. I don't want to really talk about all them. The main focus is that, like, that show has lit me up. The people that has walked out, people like Wes. I'm so mad that he got eliminated this season, this episode. Like, I really liked him in there because he was more strategic. I think he bit a hole in his tongue when he spoke up and said anything about, "I'm coming for you."
Oh, yeah.
Look at you. Did I knock you? Did I knock your phone out of your hand?
Like,
I'm just saying. It was like, I'm not even gonna lie, like, y'all know I'm very homosexual, and this was fun for me. Like, he was very, like, attractive to me, but not just that. Like, I felt like he was the most, like, toughest person to get to the end, because if y'all have not seen him on his seasons, like, he's very calculated, and he has a lot going on in his head. I just think that he should not have exploded at that table like that. He went in. He literally was looking people in their eyes and telling them, "I'm coming for you."
Yeah.
Every time they voted for him, "I'm coming for you." And then the last one was like, "If she selects you, Wes, then you're going home." And she flipped over that card and said, "I select you, Wes." Well, she said, "Well, I guess I'm number 6," and set that card down and was like, face crack of the century. I wanted the other guy to leave. I wanted Rob to leave. I don't like Rob. Rob is a little too sneaky for me. D-Lo, you're just sitting back.
It's hard because I'm ahead of you. So I'm trying to think of where.
Yeah. So
what I can
say.
I
was really hurt by the most dramatic leaving I've ever seen in my life. First and foremost,
did he cry?
Bob the drag queen.
Oh,
let them have it.
But so how do you
everybody
think?
in there like?
I want to ask you about that.
And then he wore them out. Was like, "I don't believe in God. I was a traitor." And it's like snaps. It's like turns around and walks away and waves at him. I'm like, oh my God, he is so dramatic and extra.
But do you think Rob was right to go for him though, like that? Because that's where Danielle and what's her name, the other one, they started distrusting him.
Danielle and Caroline.
Yeah.
The traitors. No,
and
I
Rob.
don't think they necessarily. It was just Rob. Like, Rob was wanting to set a stamp by, like, putting up one of them. He didn't want to get rid of the ladies, and the loudest one in the room was who? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like he was the dominant one. He was the king of the conversation, everybody's conversation. Like that was just that. So he was like, I need to get rid of him because he's swaying all those people's votes towards him to stay. He's gonna be here till the end. I need to show them that he's a traitor and they all trusted me. And I feel like he just pulled the other women to try to sway them to vote with him. And it came down to why these last 2 episodes, and it's just
well, I don't think Rob would have done it so quick if Bob the drag queen didn't be like, it's got to be one of the new people that came from the cages.
Yeah.
And paint that target on his back because he was one of the new people from the cage.
Yeah.
So he painted a target on his back, and I would have been. So that's where I was like, he should.
But at the same time, he should have gave Bob time and then came for him later because that put a target even closer to his back. You know what I'm saying? It put the person right closer to his back, ready to blow his motherfucking brains out because they still trying to come for him.
Well, yeah,
like,
but
it was up between him and Wes. It was really up to those 2 people. One of them were going home.
No.
So
I mean, it's kind of like what they were saying with the people in the casket. Like they held on to that so long.
Yeah.
Like Sierra, you know, she had to be. She's got to be a traitor.
Serial.
She's
like they all suspect her of being a serial, but she's not. All of them are faithful. There's like 3 traitors left. There's 3.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And from what I've freaking accidentally watched, there's gonna be 2. And Rob's gonna be gone, so I'm not looking forward to that. But I'm not a spoiler alert type of person.
That's what I'm trying to think, because like where I'm at, because I'm waiting for the new episode to come out.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to catch up to your point. So, anyways, in other news, there's shows like The Survivor's coming back up for another season, starting February the 26th. The Rancher, I don't know if y'all are ever familiar with that. It's like a guy's coming out of the military to a hometown and he's starting to police there and he's starting to undercover and do crimes and stuff there. Like, it's really neat. Like,
is he jolly?
Is who jolly? No, it's I can't remember his name. If y'all have ever seen Blue Mountain State, he's Thad in that show. He's like, "Where's my fucking pussy?" Like he goes crazy. But the other shows, the new show is called Good Cop Bad Cop. It's airing on the CW. It's a really cool show. So there's really nifty shows. I know that Wicked's coming to Paramount too, so people can watch it on there starting in March.
Was it Paramount or Peacock? I thought it was Peacock.
It is Peacock.
Yeah.
It is Peacock. Let me rewind, take it back. If I remember, I'm going to rewind it, and I'll just cut this part out. But anyways, if I don't, we like original. So we'll see you soon. Stay tuned for Cha Cha's Final Corner. All right. Time to go. Say no more.